Hello, today we are continuing our series on how we work as a business, and Jess has kindly agreed to be our case study, and this is the third video of the series. So today we're not going to go through lots and lots of things. You can go back to the other videos, but today this is where Jess would start the process with us, okay? And we're using Laurel Portier's ecosystem, her ad system, okay? So we just, at the first point, we need to define what you've got already and what resources you have and where you would actually begin with Laurel's ecosystem and how you work that out. So we've pinched Laurel's drawing and it just shows the whole ecosystem. I'm not going to go through that too much, but this is how you would actually work out, if you're in the $7 program or lean on Laurel, where you would begin with this process. So she always starts, if you have warm traffic already, da 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 da. And then if you have little or no warm traffic, and you have another section. So with Jess, we know that even though she's a seasoned marketer, advertiser, she has a PhD in marketing, she's been in the game, as they say, for 10 years, a lot of experience. These will be your very first ads going out to the internet to try and attract people, who need your service right now. So we're going to just go through what it is that we're going to do with Jess. We've already defined she has no warm audience, no traffic yet. So we go to the second paragraph. So first thing we're going to do is to launch campaign number 1, which is her goodwill ads, which also known as power content. And this is to build invisible leads through consistent exposure. So you don't turn these ads off. You test them to bring the cost per 25% view down, video view. That's it. You leave these running. Don't ever turn them off. And then at the same time, we're also going to simultaneously launch campaign number 2. And this is to bring in conversations, because as we all know now, conversations are the fastest path to cash, but also this is where we get to know what our ideal clients actually need right now, so we can actually create even better ads in the future for ourselves. So now it's over to Daniel, because he's going to do the most important work, which is to actually find out what scripts, what content we're going to actually need to attract those people so that they know to come to Jess to have that chat. Over to you, Daniel.
Yeah. So first thing you'll need to know, or we'll need to figure out together to actually create videos on the two for the 2 of these campaigns is we'll need to, first of all, we'll need to lay out what your methodology looks like. What does it look like when you take, say, your ideal client who's at a position where they're at the very beginning, they have all the problems that you offer to help people solve. What does the process look like for you taking them through milestone A, milestone B, milestone C to actually get to where they want to be? And what you offer, what it is you offer, pardon. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to go through these first steps, and we're going to list through the goals and the milestones together.
Would you like to explain whose content Bible, who created this?
Yeah, this is Laurel's again.
This I think was off the back of her 15-piece exercise, which everyone was encouraged to do when they first joined the program. It was when I started, but nobody really likes it, even though this is essential if you want to make good progress with this, because you need to actually work out what problems people actually have who are in your ideal client list, as it were.
Yeah.
So
we're going to do a few questions. So Jess, I'm just going to ask you a few questions so we can go through each of these, because staring at the boxes,
yeah, it's horrible. That's 0 to 1.
Over time, what we'll do, we're going to do this together with this hour calls into our case study. Over time, what people will have is I'll have a next full explanation for how they can go through this first bit, list out what these milestones look like for them. And then I'll meet with people for, say, 20 to 30 minutes, and we'll go through what the individual steps look like. What step 1, what step 2, what step 3 of accomplishing a milestone.
Would you like to also explain what this is even for? Because at the moment it just looks like a document with some boxes on, doesn't it? And why we're doing this?
I'm going to explain exactly what it's for. So this is for creating your content, but you're going to see exactly how it helps once it's filled out. And so we'll get through the document as much as we can now.
Okay. Just to point out, though,
So-
that Laurel says that content and ads are the same thing because, obviously we've been working with her a long time. People might get confused, but this is also for your ads as well.
So, Jess, very first thing I'd like to do is we're going to go and identify who your ideal clients are. So, are you familiar with Laurel's? I'm not sure she has a specific name for it, but she calls it a triangle exercise. Or are you familiar with this exercise or with her floor ceiling exercise?
I've seen her drawing it. I do not remember what it's about.
Okay.
Glad to hear more about it again.
Yeah, so this is the very first thing we want to do, figure out before any ads are written, which is knowing who your floor clients are. Your floor clients are the people who fit the minimum requirements to be able to work with you. So in your case, a bit about your business is you're helping basically business owners in different capacities, coaches and so on, solving problems and bringing something of value to the world with their sales. The minimum requirements for them to be able to work with you, one of those might be they need to be bringing in sales calls. If your strategy is based around helping them close more sales calls, for example, and yours may look a bit different based on what exactly your process looks like. But if you're applying to help them with sales calls, they need to be bringing in at a minimum a few sales calls for it to be worth it to them to work with you. If they're not bringing sales calls, they're below your floor, so they're not ready to work with you.
Yeah, have a glass of water.
Thank you.
Does that make sense so far?
It does. Is it now that we start the exercise? I can already tell you, or you have, or you're explaining first a little bit more.
So with that in mind, yeah, please tell me.
Yeah, but that's the thing right now, as we remember here, is that I'm not really sure what is the exact angle I want to be actually approaching this whole business right now and understanding what the main need is. One of the main problems that I could be solving is indeed linked to people who have sales goals, but there are so many other aspects that they could have as well. For example, some people, it's not about specifically the sales goals, but they're just do not know how to even sell at the end of a webinar. So how they can actually initiate how to sell people to come on the sales call, how they can actually just create CTAs, what is selling in email, what is soft selling, how can you diffuse objections beforehand to actually get people ready to buy from you. So there's a lot of different aspects we could do as well. One of the problems they can have is this general sense that selling and marketing is something that they really are uncomfortable with, that is really something they do not want to do, and they feel lost in the way they should approach it, even if they can completely try to avoid it. And you can see it, and it appears in the content that they're creating, for example, that is just maybe inspirational quotes, instead of actually doing content that sells and that would get people to be interested exactly in the work you're doing. But this is something a little bit overlapping what we're doing now on your hand and what I would be doing. So yeah, it's big. So there's this mindset and identity shift that they need to do first, where they understand that as an online business owner, it's not about just the impact they're doing, but of course there is this sales and marketing aspect, but they do not need to become a salesperson to be successful in it. Just becoming a trusted advisor can be enough. So this is on its own, I would say, almost this mindset identity shift would be a solution, something that I would bring, which is one program. Another program is indeed, as you said, the conversations that sell. So the conversations that sell is really about focusing on not just that the people too quickly are trying. I'm really going on tangents. Please don't hesitate if I'm going too far. Is it fine?
No, brain dump, please.
So as we were saying, I'm glad. As we were saying on a previous call, one of the biggest issues is people believe that they just have to focus, for example, on the talent attraction part, where they would put bigger budgets on, for example, their ads, or just creating content and or following a guru's technique to get more organic people and a bigger audience, but not understanding that maybe this is not, if they focus just on this attraction part without focusing as well in the quality of the acquisition process that they have to put in place, it won't work. So this is really focusing as well on the full journey of what they are going through from the moment they post content, asking people, getting people on email lists, asking them to go onto their webinar, their workshop, etc. What is the client journey they're bringing the people to until the moment they say, I'm in, I want to sign with you. And then from there, it's starting to focus on the data as well. Where are we losing people? How come I have 500 people who decided to come on my webinar, or just 2, and only 1 decided to go on a phone call with me? So this is when we actually focusing on these moments, which I call the leaky buckets as well. It's we in general, it is called the little bit that the leaky buckets. This is where you can realize, okay, maybe it's not about volume at this moment. Volume is important, but pair it as well with a little bit of quality in the talent acquisition part as such. And that would help them then maybe do small tweaks and be able to sell better. So this is a second big thing that comes before the conversation. And another part, before we really dive into the conversation, is as well, what am I selling?